CRRM, CarePoint Billing Services. Check out the new book from Derek Shelmerdine,
Rock and Roll Unraveled.
It tells the story of rock and roll from its roots right up until the mid-'70s punk.
Rock and Roll Unraveled.
Not just the music, but also the events that shaped the music.
Rock and Roll Unraveled.
It includes the backgrounds to recording sessions, singles, album releases, births and deaths, epic concerts, and festivals.
Rock and Roll Unraveled.
Shelmerdine has made a painstaking effort to document pretty much every event that would prove significant in shaping popular music.
Rock and Roll Unraveled.
Purchase the book at www.rockandrollunraveled.com. Follow him at Twitter at R&R Unraveled, and look him up on Facebook at Rock and Roll Unraveled.
Rock and Roll Unraveled.
By author Derek Shelmerdine.
Available now.
You're listening to the John LeBang Show.
Join the radio revolution right here.
It's better than some good Thai stick, man.
Yes, I would like some too.
Speaking of alternative media, and we have AJ over there who's rooting for Trump. Just like I was saying, he's just the leader in it. And whatever AJ says, his followers just go along. And then we got Pete Sham Willie over there. He's back after being arrested. You know, it's funny how AJ and Pete Sham Willie over there, these guys have records, right? They've been arrested by the police. They could have been turned to be operatives. But they get so much recognition out of people. Far more than I even get. It's... You know, I don't see the allure in these guys. I turn them off most of the time. You know, in fact, I've gotten to the point, and this is going against my training, because I am of the belief that you listen to everybody, but you believe nothing unless you can prove it yourself. William Cooper ingrained that in me. But there's so much garbage news, lame news. Yeah, you know, it's not fake news anymore, ladies and gentlemen. It's lame news. And it's on all sides of the political spectrum. It even covers the alternative media. On any given day, you could have any one of these headlines, and they're all boring. Trump was going to fire Mueller, but didn't. Ooh. That's what they call news. That was news this week, ladies and gentlemen. The mainstream media got all bent out of shape because Trump probably was gonna fire Mueller, but he didn't. And that was news. Nothing came of it. Nothing happened. Nothing at all. Now it's news, and that could be considered obstruction. He didn't do it. Other average, typical news items that we get in the everyday headlines: Russian probes continues with no end in sight and no evidence. Another pervert takes advantage of a naive wannabe Hollywood fairy princess. More sports athletes do something irrelevant at work. These are the typical headlines. I'm using my own words, but this is what we see all the time. This is all the news has. They think this is important. We're going to get to some important stuff here, ladies and gentlemen. But I'm doing a little exercise in showing how lame the mainstream news is. It's no longer fake news. It's lame news. How about this one? Unknown scientist does something to make themselves feel important. Trans something or other engages in weird acts of strangeness none of us want to see or hear about. Then you got the protest. Oh, let's not forget the all men suck headlines. Then we got the politicians make deals that benefit their interest headlines. You know, am I missing something, ladies and gentlemen? Everyone listening out there, please chime in. I want to know, are there other headlines I might be missing? Mom's a scumbag and leaves her children at home alone. We get that one. Or leave them in a car, right? We get that a lot, too. It's the same news over and over. Different names, different cities, same garbage. Yet they don't talk about, or very few talk about, some of the most important issues. Employee who sent false alarm in Hawaii missile alert is refusing to cooperate with the FCC investigation. That's not making big news. Here's a guy who scared the heck, or a lady. We don't know. They won't tell us who this person is. But here's a person who frightened an entire state of people. And now it's being portrayed as a oops-a-boo-boo, but they don't want to cooperate with the investigation. Then, of course, we got the Trump declares the U.S. open for business in Davos, as he tells global bigwigs America's first does not mean America alone. So we're having nationalism with a touch of globalism. Yeah, that's a... Of course, that doesn't entirely work with what he was saying during the election. And we're not going to get criticism out of the Sean Hannity's or the alt media. We'll get plenty out of the mainstream manufactured news like CNN. That's what they do. When their guy's not in office, the other guy's a bad guy. He sucks. He's just a racist, sexist, homophobe, all that kind of stuff. Another headline that happened this week: Chinese scientists clone monkeys using the same method that Dolly the sheep was made. So now they're cloning monkeys in China because if you want to do something heinous and anti-human, you want to go to China to do it because they let you do everything. They don't care. Just give them the money. Hey, perform whatever experiment you want. You want to transplant somebody's head? Just give us some money. We're all good with that. Hey, human experiments are fine. Animal experiments are fine. Making iPhones and all these other gadgets that the West needs dearly. Have them made by cheap slave labor that get penny on the dollar for their time. And, it's just... You want to go to China to do all this because there's so much freedom in China to do this stuff. We also had the Doomsday Clock move forward. Yep, those irrelevant scientists say it's now 2 minutes to midnight. I think that's an Iron Maiden song, isn't it? 2 minutes to midnight. And they say it's a symbolic hour for the apocalypse. Hey, I don't disagree. We're in a bad place in this world. But we don't need irrelevant scientists who do nothing that benefit us that I can tell at this point. The scientific community is no longer scientific. They're engineers, they're architects. They're doing something to create, turn, build. They don't do... There's not much discovery anymore. And that's really... what science is, the study and the discovery of what happens naturally. Naturally. So when you're cloning monkeys, that's not natural. That's not science. You're an architect, you're an engineer, you're strange, you're evil. I don't know what you are, but you're not a scientist. So that's good, And then you realize that a lot of people or a lot of corporations want to go to China for some reason. And of course, then we got Trump, who's completely gone silent on the currency manipulation China does now that he's president. That's out the door. We don't hear about it anymore. Not a big thing. Barely talked about. Things change when these guys become president. They change, And we have to understand that. I told you that I was going to be happy to get about 5% of what Trump promised. But that doesn't mean I'm going to sit back and let him go against his word and be like the mainstream media and the Fox News side of things, or like the alternative media who just has shut up about what is going on in the government. There are things happening right now under the Trump administration that we're going to talk about after the break that makes Obama look like a nice guy. But we're not paying attention to that. We're not paying attention to that in the alt media. Trump's doing great. Trump's doing great. And I'll agree, he's done some positive things, or at least things I think that are positive, but I'm not going to let him get away with breaking his campaign promises. I'm not the Democrat media, okay? I'm not the mainstream manufactured news who just buys into the government line when it's their guy in office. I actually thought the alternative media and the right-wing media, they want to call it, had a little more integrity. But no, they're just follower-longers, just like anybody else. Trump's out there with his pipe, or I'm sorry, his flute, and the rats are just following. And I like Trump better than I like Obama. 100 times better. Not to say I like Trump. There's a lot not to like about Trump. But that's the Democrats' fault for throwing Hillary up there, and Bernie for that matter. Throw somebody worth a crap up there, and Trump probably wouldn't be in office right now. Anyways, folks, up against another break. How the hour always flies when you're listening to the John LeBanc Show. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Hey, you. Yeah, you. Listening there. Don't go anywhere. The John LeBanc Show is going to be right back. Just ask the hillbilly.
That's right. Right after this.
What about me? Maybe next time.
Fans, do you need a video for your brand new song but don't have a lot of money? Then contact John LeBanc. His reasonable rates, professional look, and fast turnarounds will help get that song off the ground. Contact him at jlebang.com.
Powerful, epic music by Toothbox Roll. Life-changing lyrics come in every style, empowering humanity to finally unlock the chains of bondage. Experience the edgy side of positive music and rock your world today. From Primal to Divine, available now at sassyalternativemusic.com.
Hey, man, it's at the bottom of the hour, man. Do you know where your kids are, man?
Forces of darkness, the treasonable minds who collaborate, must, can, and will be wiped from the face of the earth.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the second half of this first hour of the John LeBanc Show. This is going to go out to all my alt media colleagues out there. Alex, AJ, if you're listening, please look into this. Pete, Sham Willie, look into this, please. Anybody else who's important, because we all know John LeBang is not important in the alternative media. But so anybody who's important out there in the alt world, or Sean Hannity, if you want to look at this, come on, let's talk about this, because this is happening under Trump. ICE agents. ICE is about to start tracking license plates across the United States. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. ICE, the Immigrations and Custom Enforcement Agency, has officially gained agency-wide access to a national license database recognition program, according to a contract finalized earlier this month. The system gives the agency access to billions